What are you chewing on?
And welcome into Pressbox Live. We want to remind you that this airs on Facebook Live right now, live. And then tomorrow morning it'll be available for viewing on our website at PressboxOnline.com. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, along with my co-host Gary Stein. We're thrilled to have with us our guest, who I'll introduce in just a moment. But now I got to help pay for this endeavor by telling you that Pressbox Live is brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. And as I like to say each time I do these ads, there is no greater cost that you will have on your home. And you want to know and trust the people that are doing the work. I know these guys, I like these guys, and I trust these guys. BAF, the roofing company that sells all the roofing supplies, rates them with the tag as Master Elite status. C3America.com. Check them out on the website. The company is C3 American Exteriors. Now, on to our guest, who it's been about, Gary, tell me if I'm right or wrong. It's probably been about 10 months since we had him on this show, because I remember a line of questioning we were asking him last year around this time after the death of George Floyd. That is the football coach at Towson State Tigers, and that is, or Towson Tigers, not Towson State Tigers, Rob Ambrose. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you doing?
All right. How are things going with you? Are they getting back to normal in your everyday life a little bit? And I guess getting back on the practice field is sort of getting back to normal too.
It is. We're just like everybody else. We're at the whim of whatever goes on with COVID. But as everything relaxes itself, it's starting to feel like normal. I give my kids a lot of credit. We made it through spring without any pauses or stops or any of that stuff. That we decided at the beginning of the spring semester, a long conversation about what the obstacles were and what the goals were.
To playing about potential of playing spring football.
Just being able to actually practice together under the cloud of COVID. And state institution, we have tons of protocols, and it's very difficult to train together as a large group of humans in anything under this COVID protocol life. And that's an obstacle to our success. So we can either focus on the obstacle or we can focus on the goal. And the guys did. I'm just blown away. Try being 17 to 22 years old and having to live under this, and not just live, thrive. Not you mandated to thrive. And they worked so hard. They were so close. Our team's closer than it's ever been. And they really took all these problems in stride and kept the eyes on the goal and not the obstacle.
Rob, as I remember now, you guys were the only team in the Colonial to vote as a team not to participate in spring football. And I just wonder what those discussions were like. And obviously, I know Tim Leonard, I know you took the kids, what they had to say to heart on this, but how did that proceed?
It was a long, intelligent, drawn out, communicative conversation. And I went back and I used facts like stats. I went back to the last time we played, 19, and I looked at the first 3 games of our season. And in the first 3 games of that season, we lost 7 guys for the season with career season-ending injuries, not career. But of those 7 guys, all of those guys could have rehabbed and played in 2020 in the fall.
Okay.
Now, if you take that math and you take those injuries and you apply them to a season in the spring, none of those guys would have played.
Been able to come back. Yeah.
And like, you guys have to decide what's more important, playing 6 games of truncated season and maybe getting a chance to go to the playoffs. And I give credit to everybody that fought it out. Or you can focus on 21 when we play a full season. We bring in North Dakota State, and we're not playing for an abbreviated asterisk, COVID season. We're creating the new normal again. we're building toward the new normal. And our kids they understood the problems, they understood the dangers. The only kids that really wanted to play were the ones that never played before. Hell, they would have played on Sunday in the parking lot without pads, and I love them for it. And I would have done it too. But I got to think about it's not just like what you want now. It's what's good for these kids. When we scrimmage in the spring, we have 2 to 3 scrimmages of which I control. So I got old guys, I got young guys, everybody's getting experience. When you play in the CAA, when you play a game in the CAA, buckle up, baby, because it's Mike Tyson. And it doesn't matter who you're playing or where you're playing. And you're going to do that 6, 7, 8, 9 times in the spring and then turn around and be healthy as a team in the fall. Percentages are not in your favor. When I started looking at the injuries that happened, when the kids started looking at the injuries that happened to all the other teams, all of a sudden the kids are like, okay, we did the right thing. We're going back to work. There are no doubts.
Before I turn you over to Gary for a couple questions, let me just ask you, were there some coaches, because none of us have really been through this before, something like this, but were there some coaches that you reached out to discuss before you discussed with the kids about that very topic you just talked about?
We did. I talked to everybody that I'm respected, I'm tight with in the league. I talked to guys at different levels, and we all had the same concerns. But truth be told, I give our administration a lot of credit. Some of those guys didn't have a set. Their kids didn't have a set. Their administration said, we're just like their administration said, we're not playing. Their administration said, we're playing. And it doesn't really matter what you think. And I give our people a lot of credit that we looked at the facts, we looked at the stats, and we listened to the kids. We listened to the kids. And if you can stand up and say you care about them, but caring about them is being able to look past what they want right now for what they should need for the rest of their life. You do the same thing with your own kids. And in retrospect, everybody's smart in hindsight. And I think our kids are pretty happy with the decision that they made. They pushed this.
Gary, go ahead.
Rob, I want to ask you a couple of specific things about spring practice. First of all, level of rust. What kind of rust did you guys have to shake off?
A lot, for real, a lot. And we talk about it all the time. It's very funny with people that don't coach football, that don't do what we do, that aren't around this like you guys are. So they think like a bunch of 100 individuals can go train somewhere else by themselves, lift, run, do some drills, and then all of a sudden come together and play football. And that's just not real. It doesn't happen like that. Football's a team sport. It's a team sport that takes team players working in unison together. And there is no substitute for that practice of being together. So our guys were like, yay, we're going to practice. And then we went out there for the first 3 to 4 days, and we were like, wow, we're bad. Like, honestly, we're just bad. And it wasn't a judgmental thing. We were all bad. Coaches were rusty.
Coaches were
like,
worse.
hey, you remember this? God, I can't believe I forgot this. Like, Gary, you said it. We were rusty. And we just kept grinding. As we get towards the end of spring, practice 11, 12, 13, all of a sudden everybody's going, oh yeah, okay. This is how it's this. Yeah, it's cool. But this is what people don't get. It's not an individual sport. It's a team sport. And until you practice said team sport with said players of team sport, you're not going to be any good at it. And we finally, I said, we worked really hard to get back to zero. Mm-hmm. It's a year's worth of work to get back to zero. We got through spring incredibly healthy, most healthy spring I've ever had.
Really?
And now, eyes are on the prize. We're looking forward to the fall.
Mm-hmm. So along those lines, Rob, and you know the rules better than me. I don't know what kind of constraints you're under in terms of number of players that you can have at spring practice, right? But I would imagine, just from a common sense perspective, with COVID looming and the chance that some players will be out because of that, the rust factor and increased injury chances, although you said you were more healthy in spring than ever, were you allowed to have more players participate in spring practice this year?
No.
No.
My roster limit is my roster limit. Now, normally I have between 68 and 75 guys for the spring after everybody graduates out. I was up to 99 for the spring. I gave a whole bunch of guys opportunities. Just, hey, come on. For what you said, Gary, possibility of COVID, knocking out a group of guys, a position group that happened.
Exactly.
So we did that, and I took more guys than I've ever taken before, and 3 of them made it. 3 of those guys will, and it's your chance. Like, here's your opportunity, guys. Have at it. And I give those 3 a lot of credit because they had to make this team from scratch. We knew who they were from high school, and they had to do it under COVID without knowing what life. I give those guys a lot of credit, and I believe all 3 of them are going to play in special teams at least. So advantageous. What is it? Positive things that came out of this horrible mess.
Right. The silver linings. Exactly. So Rob, basically those 3 guys that you're talking about, they would be like the equivalent of undrafted free agents making an NFL roster.
Yep. Exactly.
That's a pretty neat story.
It's not an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, when we last left you as a football team, you had finished up that last season, the 2019 season, right? 7-5, but you were losing your quarterback. Mike Flacco played for you. What, 3 years Mike played there, or 2? 2.
Tom.
I'm sorry. Tom Flacco. Mike's the other brother, right? Don't they have another brother?
Hold it. Line them up, because there's a whole bunch
they got a lot
of
of
the most competitive humans you ever met.
Well, Flacco played for you, and he played very well. That meant that your quarterback position was going to be kind of, I think, wide open going into last season, which didn't occur. Are those quarterbacks still on your roster? And tell us a little bit about the battle right now.
Everybody wants to know about the quarterbacks. Yes, they're still
sexy position. You know,
here's the spotlight position. Most are back. We've had 2 different shuffles since Tom's left, and we're finishing the 3rd. I will say that when June 1st comes, which is getting close, we will have some people on our roster that were not on our roster previously.
Okay.
And the competition for quarterback will be pretty stiff all summer long. Now, one of those guys I can't say his name. If you give me a week, I can probably say his name.
Okay.
But it's very competitive. I think we have some old, experienced, veteran savviness, and we got some young talent. And the combination of those 2 is going to make for a good one.
Is my memory correct? Going into last year, would you have had some transfer that was like real tall or something from somewhere? I don't remember the name, but
I have a guy from Southern California named Jeff Miller, who's
that's the guy.
Right? Okay. And he's in the competition.
He's still in the competition.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, he's we just had our Golden Paws like athletic awards banquet for everyone, and he was recognized as like the Tiger. Like the guy everyone should want to be. He's done a fantastic job here. I'm sure he's going to get on the field at some point. He's building himself to that. But he makes that room pretty good, and we're going to be pretty competitive.
All right, that sounds exciting. I was looking at your schedule, and you had the exciting news that you kind of broke that North Dakota State is coming in here. That's kind of like the equivalent at your level of football, like Alabama coming in to Towson, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It is, and truth be told, I kind of think I might want to play Alabama more than I want to play North Dakota State. They're impressive. They really are. I mean, in the history of history, there's very few dynasties. There's a reason there are dynasties. It's not just players and coaches. It has to do with the team, and the team is bigger than just the team. It's the school. It's a community. You go to where there's a dynasty, everybody's in. And right now in Fargo, North Dakota, everybody's in.
Is the team really excited that they're coming in?
Oh God, yes. There's so those guys played in the spring for a little bit.
Okay.
And, in the first or second week, North Dakota State lost. They lost the regular season game. And
it doesn't happen very often.
Not at all. And the underlying text thread for all the kids, Drago bleeds. I was impressed. I was impressed with what that meant. They brought that
exactly.
It's all right. So I think it's great. I think it's great for us. I think it's great for them to come all the way out here and play, get out of the Fargo Dome. I think it'll be great for the community. It's gonna be one of those. We've been nationally ranked for years now, and to have the #1 team come here, I think it'll be a great challenge. The national championship goes through North Dakota one way or the other.
Yep.
So let's play them now.
Did that scheduling come about because of it's post-pandemic and you wanted to do something exciting, or had they been on the book?
That was
on the book
years prior.
Okay.
Tim and I had talked about that years ago.
Okay.
And he was a little worried. He's like, "How do you feel about this? Bring it." Like, there was a couple years ago, the year we played we played South Florida down there.
Right.
We had talked with North Dakota State about going out there for the first game of all football games. But if we did that, we'd have to drop South Florida, and they needed a game, and we couldn't find one for them. So this game's been in the works since the national championship game. We're just finally getting it.
Now, I noticed a week after you play North Dakota State at home, you fly across the country the very next week and play a very good San Diego State team.
Yes, we've decided that in 13, when we went to the national championship, they did some stat. We were the most traveled team in America at any level. Yeah, we're kind of fighting to see if we can do that again. I think before we play North Dakota State, we go to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go to LA. Sure,
Okay.
not a problem. Let's go.
All right.
Well, if you're going to travel, you might as well travel down there. I mean, you could do a lot worse than that. But listen, Rob, while we're talking about North Dakota State, they didn't win the FCS championship last year. And by the way, that final between Sam Houston and South Dakota was one of the greatest football games I've ever seen in my life. Okay. But having said that, how much, if any, did you pay attention to spring football last year while you were not playing spring football last year?
Probably more than people thought. And as much as I needed to, it's very different to watch spring football. You're watching some schools that just said, we don't care. We're going to play everybody. We're going to play our base fronts, base offense, let the kids practice versus live. And then there were other teams that are just out to win it all. So you had to really sift through that to see, are you just watching somebody's elementary stuff and you're just looking at personnel? Are you really finding out what they want to do to win? And that was kind of different, but on the whole, I get all the film anyhow. I took all, and I like that because I get to take all the emotion out of it. I like to watch the game from start to finish. We don't do offense, defense, start to finish, so I can see how the flow of the game works. But it's spring. I love my brothers. OC at Delaware, and I think they won 7 games. They get to a playoff. Good, great, happy for you, but that's not real.
So I did a little math, Rob, and from the time that you last played a game, that was Elon back in 2019. I think it was November 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. You'll play Morgan this coming year, God willing, September 4th. It'll be 650 days from the last game to the first game. So my question is, if you didn't pay a lot of attention to 1AA or football at all, spring football, did you come up with any great new offensive schemes, or what have you done for the last 650 days to be better for 2021?
Let's see. Well, for all the people that are looking for answers for what we're going to be, we're very boring, we're very stupid. We didn't do anything well. My coaches are really dumb. I'm dumb.
Don't
anybody.
any of that.
I'm really dumb. No, we spent some time dissecting our kids, dissecting our scheme, seeing what it is that we've done well, what we've done poorly, what we need to do better. But more importantly, how the kids that we have on our roster, how is it that we can get them better? And how is it that they can achieve at the level, play to their skill sets, I guess. And so we did a good job personnel dissecting, scheme dissecting, and even our own staff. We some guys left, some guys came. It's hard to do under the cloud of COVID. The lights are different, the focus is different, but just being around the kids. And you guys, I'm sure you get this. How many of these have you done? Are you done with Zoom? Because I am. Many times you can be in person with those kids. Every struggle that you ever went through, every difficulty that this is ever, any challenge, being around those kids and watching them be together, that's the growth. That's the growth. The hair on the back of my neck just stood up. That's why.
One of the byproducts of the pandemic, I'm guessing, is this decision by a team that you play, Albany.
Mhm.
Albany, the University of Albany. They're gonna give up Division I sports and go to Division III. Have you heard this?
I have not.
Okay.
I don't think it's Albany, Stan. I think it's Hartford.
Oh,
Is it Hartford?
Yeah,
No,
I
the
know
Hartford I
Hartford
know
is
about.
doing that.
They don't play football.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I'm not sure about Albany, but I know Hartford's doing that.
Okay.
With that being said, I would not be surprised to see that trend continue in a much bigger way in the future. That the
Mhm.
pandemic is shaking the financial foundation
Yep.
of anything that's existed, including secondary education. So
Yeah.
how well one would be prepared for a pandemic, or how much planning and savings you did. I can see this being a problem for a lot of people in a hurry.
So my other question on this segment here is you had time. I know if I were asking you to critique a normal NFL season, you would say, hey, I'm busy watching my own film and worrying about my team. I'm just wondering, because you are a really very bright offensive mind. This is not meant to critique John Harbaugh or our offensive coordinator, but have you watched Lamar this past year quite a bit? And have you come to a conclusion why when we get to the playoffs, it just doesn't seem like the same team?
Well, okay. So in a span of, it depends on how you're evaluating your perspective. High school football is 10 games, college
Right.
11, 12 games. The NFL is 16 plus when you turn the summer stuff. So with that bank of knowledge, it's pretty easy. By the time you get later in the season, you have an entire bank of what these guys are good at. And so it's harder to be successful because everybody knows exactly what you do. You can tweak it as much as you want, but after that much time playing that many games, the analytics boil down to.
But it seems like I understand that, but it seems like really week 15 stuff is still working. But then when it's the postseason, something just changes. I mean, now maybe it's simply because when you're playing the postseason, you're playing the better teams.
Right? Everybody. I mean, it's the NFL. Everybody's good, but now we're talking about the 55 that play the best together.
Right.
The 55 that run their scheme and play the best together. I would say flat out that the Ravens are one of the best right now. The league itself, offensively and defensively, is probably better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And as much as I love what the Ravens were before, and defensively they're always going to be good. But offensively, we're so much a better team than we were 5 years ago. But everybody else's defense is just that much better.
Yeah.
Like everybody catches up to what you do, and unless you are, I give Kansas City all the credit in the world because they're as multiple can be. And therefore, whatever you did in week 1, you're not going to do in week 15. And the Ravens aren't like that. It's more on defense, less on offense. Be really good and win the game as a team. So I don't fault those guys. I think the kid's doing a great job. I watched him when they drafted him, how not well he was as a passer, and then I watched his growth in a very, very short period of time. He's been fantastic. Yeah. He's one of the most dynamic football players that have played in the NFL. Period. So I don't have any. These guys are going to find a way to put him in a position for all of them to be successful. I like what they're doing in the offseason. I think they made some really, really good additions, and they're not done. There's going to be a dynamic aspect to that offense that's been missing a little bit.
And by the way, they're going to 17 games this year.
I feel bad for those guys. That's crazy.
It's a lot of games. Yeah. Rob, I want to ask you like a question kind of that we talked about, what we had you on last time. Stan alluded to that earlier. We had you on about a year or so ago. And not only was it the beginning of the pandemic, but it was also the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, which raised a lot of racial issues, obviously, in this country, a lot of division. And right at the front line, I thought, and I think we all agreed, was Black youth and people who interact with Black youth. You have a lot of African-American players on your team. We talked about what those conversations were like back then. You told us how educated you became because of it, which was fabulous. I just wonder, a year later, now I hate to use this word because it's not true. We're not celebrating it. We're remembering what happened a year ago. Do those conversations come back? Do you revisit that? What do you do?
Yes. We're still not at the point where we get to be together. Like I get a very limited time when I'm on the field with them, but for the most part, our meetings aren't in person. I don't have team meet. We don't have in-person stuff. And you can want to do, you can want to help, you want to make change, you want to be a part, but your effectiveness is only going to be as strong as your ability to connect. And our limited ability to connect is hindered that clearly. I'm going to tell you that you said before, and I appreciate you saying that getting educated and that I was working, I realized in the time since I've seen you, how much I don't know, how much I haven't known, how much I still need to learn, and true, how much we all need to learn. There are historic, distinct, ridiculous facts about our city alone.
I know.
That has to do with, how the city was created and the racial divides that were created long before we were ever born. So, if I'm not paying attention to that, I'm an idiot. But if I think that I know anything, I just learned I know limit. I need to learn a lot more. As far as us talking to kids, when we get together, our conversations get better. I personally, the only thing I can say, and this has grown since George Floyd, like the whole Asian thing, I just keep sitting back going, how does that happen in front of somebody? That's my own thing. How does that happen in front of another human being? And they let it happen. Like I would have a physical reaction if I saw someone do that, not in front of me. It's not happening. I'm still learning. I'm not smart. I realized in the last year how much I don't know about this, and I'm going to continue to learn. My wife is a great advocate. She's helping me every day. But as far as the best I can ever say is that I almost cussed. That will not happen in front of me. It will not. I will not let my kids see that as an acceptable experience. I will not let the people that are near me see that as an acceptable experience. And until we start making personal decisions on that level, instead of filming it, nothing's going to change. Somebody's going to stand up in the moment and say no. That's about the best.
Very well said. Very well said. Gary, you got another one?
Yeah. Yes. So Rob, another general question. You kind of hit something that I wanted to touch on, if it will be all right. And that was earlier. You said when you were making your decision, or when your team was making the decision not to play in the spring, one of the statistics that you brought up was the number of injuries that you suffered through the first 3 games of the previous year, 2019. And I'm sure that, and a lot of them were career ending or season ending, whatever they were. One of them that I remember that pops up in my mind was to Shane Simpson, your running back, who had a great career at Towson. I'm assuming the career is over, but I don't know. But my question is this, though. You're a pretty deep guy, and you're a nice guy, and you are a great football coach, and you're a lot of things balled up into one. But any football coach has to feel bad for a player who goes down for the year, whose season was cut short and whose career may be over. But at the same time, you need to pick it right back up and go back to your football team and be the coach. And I've always wanted to ask you, how do you do that? How do you shut off one part of your brain that is sympathetic and empathetic and then move back to business right away?
You don't. That those kids are they're entwined in what your program is, what your team is. Their role was specific. Their role was exemplified, and now their role is over. And how is it that we had 6 to 7 guys lose a season in the first 3 weeks and still found a way to be a nationally ranked team and almost make the playoffs? All those 6, 7 guys, they're starters or serious contributors. The attitude that prevails is we can't control any of this. We just go as hard as we can go together. We take care of each other. And if something bad happens, the next guy is up, and he needs to prepare his days like the next guy. Like I say this all the time. In 2013, we did not go to the national championship because of Terrence West. or some of the guys that played on that defense, or that offensive line where 3 of those guys had a cup of coffee in the NFL for a while. We went because the backup quarterback prepared like a starter every single day. And when the starting quarterback went down in the semifinal game, the backup was ready to play. And once he got his
right.
and he was good, he's the guy that led the last drive that led us to go to the national championship. Colin Frazier did a fantastic job. But he had made that decision in September that he was going to come at this every day like he's a starter. This is our family. This is how we do this. So do I regret Shane getting hurt at Maine? Oh my God, yes. Do I regret Ricky DeBerry getting hurt at Citadel? Yeah, I do. But I can't control any of that. But there's 100 kids sitting there looking at me like, well, what are we going to do now, coach? And if I'm not prepared ahead of time, and if I'm insane that I lost these great players, we're done. It's over. So I say this all the time. The world keeps spinning. We don't have a choice of what happens. The world keeps spinning. We have no control over what happens, but we can truly control how we respond. So all those bad things happen, and our guys like, okay, we can't control that. We can just control what we do from here. So we have a chance to be successful. And these kids buy into that mentality from day one. So it's not a new thing when something bad happens. We just keep it moving together.
Just curious to answer part of Gary's question. Shane Simpson, that injury did end his Towson career?
It did, kind of.
Okay.
He rehabbed his knee and he could have played. But when we decided we weren't going to play in the spring, he needed to play. So he went to Virginia, played at Virginia last fall, did a great job. And he, as I understand it, currently is with I can't say the Washington football team. That's what they call themselves now.
Okay.
Oh, so I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, he got picked up like last week.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's exciting.
Good.
That's exciting. Recruiting during this, was anything at all normal about recruiting players last year? How did you accomplish anything?
Okay, first of all, normal, the word normal in the last 12 to 16 months, that doesn't happen.
Right.
And recruiting changes because the NCAA based the future on new rules. So we've given all these kids another year of eligibility. The class of 2021 coming out of high school should be the most disenfranchised, ridiculously upset class in the history of college sports. Because it doesn't matter what sport it is, there are no opportunities. Anybody that was worthy of being good enough to stay on the roster, who still wants to stay in college, is going to stay there. So their spot doesn't exist. Those people needed to graduate. So those kids coming out of high school would have a spot on a roster or a scholarship. And that's not happening. And the NCAA can only control the college level. So high school kids kind of get screwed. Recruiting wise, it's been a ridiculous challenge. Kids send you workout tapes and what they're doing and stuff, but it's hard to evaluate when they're not playing football. And even if they are playing football, you're talking about kids who haven't played football for 8 months, 12 months, a year. It's brutal. It really is. It's brutal. There's going to be a lot of gray when it comes to the evaluation of who you got on your roster for the next couple of years in reference to college football. I can say the same in college athletics. There's a lot of gray. You're getting scholarships to kids who did not have senior years. So let's see what happens.
Rolling the dice. Rob, before we let you go, I've talked to you about this on a couple of different interviews we've done together. One of the things about your career that I find fascinating is your first 2 years at Towson, you were 3-19. Did Rob Ambrose, I saw it was a 2-9 and a 1-10, long time ago. Did you ever have any second thoughts or question your ability to get this thing done?
Yes and no. I knew the state of the program when I took the job. I knew it was going to take some time, and I had a president named Bob Corrett who was committed to the cause. And after we did the first year, he wanted to have a meeting. Asked me actually the same question, and I said, I know all the guys that you interviewed for this job. I know him personally. And truth be told, you should be thankful you hired me, because once those guys found out how bad this was, they would all turn tail and run. I don't care about the contract. And it's not like those guys, the guys before me, the kids before me, like we weren't committed to trying to win. Bob Corrett changed that.
Right.
So did I doubt? Yeah, in the second year, a little bit, right up till the last game. We were playing New Hampshire up there. It was the last game of the season. It was cold. And I had a guy named Frank Beltre, who's been playing in Canada, played for the Jets for a little bit, played in Canada. And Frank came up to me and put his arm around me after the game. We lost. It doesn't matter. If we lose, I'm mad. I don't care the circumstances. I don't care why I don't care. I'm just mad. And he put his arm. He goes, Coach, we got better today. I'm like, all right, Frank, how do we get better today? And he looked at a bunch of guys that were on the team that he knew personally. They just weren't committed to winning. And he goes, that guy's not going to be here anymore. And that guy's not going to be here anymore. And the rest of us, we're committed to this thing. And I kind of got a little warm in my heart. I'm like, and this is in November. I'm like, yeah, all right, maybe we got a chance. And we had a meeting in January, at the end of January, like we always do in this spring semester. And I swear to God, hanging around those kids, you would have thought we won 11 games the year before, and we just lost in the playoffs. We won 1 game the year before, and they believed we were going to beat that. Frank Beltre and Jordan Dangerfield went on television and told everyone, we're going to win the conference title. We haven't won at that point in time, we hadn't won a conference title in a major sport at Towson for men in 20 years, at least. And I'm doing an interview in another room going, they did what? What are you guys doing? And Frank goes, don't worry about it, Coach. We're going to win. And we did. No, it was the kids. You gather enough of the right people that have the right vision, that have the right focus, that have the right desire, that care about each other. Yeah, you can do magical stuff. Those guys were magical.
Did you not tell me that at a certain point when you were down a little bit that your wife was I hope I'm not confusing this like Hartford and Albany, but your wife kind of propped you up and said, hey, this is what you wanted to do. Do you remember telling me that?
There's two of these. There's my dad did it. And the year we went 1-10, we played JMU at home and we lost. In the last minute, we dropped the ball in the end zone. And that's the year they beat Virginia Tech. And it was year 2, whatever. I get in the office, we lost. So everybody doesn't want to talk to me. I look like steam's coming out of my head. And I walked into my office and my dad was there. And he's just looking at me. I'm like, what? And he grabs me and he hugs me. And he goes, I love you. And I go, I love you too, but why are you smiling? He goes, what? I'm pissed, Dad. We lost. He looked at me and goes, you're not supposed to be here yet. You're a year ahead of, you're not even supposed to win that game. You shouldn't have even been close. And in year 2, you almost beat them. They just beat Virginia Tech. You're on the right path. You're on the right path. Now, well, I say that my wife, she's in the room. Has my wife prodded me more than once when I had my head somewhere where it shouldn't be? I get smacked in the back of the head sometimes.
Well, we all do.
Keep my eye on the goal. Keep the focus. Stay the course.
Which actually brings up a question, Rob, and I don't know if you've ever contemplated this or not, but what else would you do? What other career could you be interested in?
Ooh. Well, I was an English major, so before I got hurt, the plan was to actually go play in Europe, come back and go to law school. God had other plans. I know I'm supposed to coach. I know that. It took me a while to figure it out. Somebody said that I have a face made for radio, so maybe I could do some.
It's definitely true. Yep, definitely.
I could do some radio, broadcasting. I don't know. I'm just, look, as long as I get to work with young people and make a little bit of a difference in this world, I'll be happy.
All right. Rob Ambrose, we always enjoy getting together. I said before we went on the air or we went live, I said, I look forward to hugging you sometime during this season. Let's hope we can accomplish that. Towson kicks off their season at Morgan State on September the 4th. And again, what's the date of the big game? Is it September 18th?
You're asking me for a date.
I'm pretty sure it's September 18th.
I've got it.
North Dakota State at Towson. Do we know what time that game will be? Is that an evening game?
Yeah, normally the earlier in the season it is, the later the game is at night. That's
Okay.
usually the deal, but we haven't set times yet.
All right. Rob, we appreciate it. We'll look forward to talking to you again sometime. Really.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
All
Seriously, great to see you. Have a great summer.
Good to see you. Xbox Live, we want to thank you again. It's been brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. And as I said before we started talking, there is no greater expense to your home than fixing or repairing or getting a new roof. And you should trust, like, and really be behind the people that are doing that work. C3 American Exteriors. I highly recommend them. Their website again, c3america.com. No show this Monday night. Ross and I are taking the night off for Memorial Day. Wednesday, Gary Stein and I will be back with an old friend, Gabrielle Gaudet, otherwise known as Gabby Gaudet, and we'll talk about the upcoming Belmont Stakes and what has transpired during a crazy Triple Crown season. For Rob Ambrose, Gary Stein, I'm Stan the Fan, and we'll see you down the road.